All right, so in this video we're going to be looking at number 6 of the 2019 Next Gen Mcas test. And if you just look, they're asking which of the following is equivalent to the expression 4k to the 4th power plus 16k cubed plus 10k squared. And looking at our answer choices here, this is telling us that we're going to be doing some factoring. So what do we know about factoring? Well, there's a bunch of different ways to factor, but in this specific example, we're going to be looking to factor out what's called the greatest common factor. So when factoring out the greatest common factor, we're thinking of it as the opposite of the distributive property, right? In math, there's an opposite to everything: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Well, the opposite of the distributive property, which is multiplying a number into a set of parentheses, we're actually going to be thinking of what number or term can we divide out of each one of these so that that term has a common factor in each one. All right, so let's just kind of take a look. So what do we have here, right? We have 4k cubed, 16k, 4k to the 4th, 16k cubed, and 10k squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this first number, this first coefficient 4. And I'm going to ask myself, all right, what is the biggest number, the largest number that I can divide out of 4 that I can also divide out of 16 as well as 10? So, well, yeah, I can divide 1 out of each one, but there's got to be something bigger. Let's see, 2, right? I can divide a 2 out of 4. I can divide a 2 out of the 16. I can divide a 2 out of 10. And once I creep up, right, to, thinking about 3 or 4, like, think about 4 for an example. Yes, I can divide 4 out of 4. Yes, I can divide 4 out of 16, but no, I can't evenly divide a 4 out of a 10. So when looking at the coefficient to divide out of this, 2 is what I'm going to be dividing out. So I know that I'm going to be dividing out a 2, which makes the coefficients of these three terms 2. Because, right, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And then 10 divided by 2 is 5. So those are going to be the coefficients of the three terms that are going to follow. Now the next part I'm going to look at is the k's. I'm like, all right, I have k's in each one of these terms, so I can divide out whatever the least amount of k's are in a term. I can divide all of those out. So k squared is going to be the least amount of k's that I have. I can divide 2k out of 2k. I can also divide 2k out of k cubed, and I can divide 2k out of k to the 4th. So this k squared is what's going to be coming out. Leaving us with, let me just clear this up a little bit, leaving us with, if we do k to the 4th divided by k squared, that's k squared. And we have a positive 8. Again, dividing k squared out is going to leave us with k. And then we had a positive 5. Divide k squared out of k squared, and I'm just left with a 1, which I don't have to write any k's there. So what's my answer to this one? I can factor out 2k squared, so I'm looking at my answer choices. Well, I factored out 4k squared here, that doesn't work. I factored out just 2, that doesn't work. Then the first term's 2k squared, all right, so that matches them both. And then my next two terms is 8k and then a 5, so that matches up with answer choice B. B has to be my answer. All right, so we'll scroll down. I gave you an additional one to kind of do on your own here. So just take a minute, pause the video, and try this one out. All right, so now that you've had a chance to try it, let's kind of look and go through the same exact thought process here. What's the largest number that I can divide out of each one of these coefficients? So you're thinking 3, right? I can divide a 3 out of 6, I can divide a 3 out of 18, and I can divide a 3 out of 9. So 3 is going to be the number that I'm taking out. Okay. What's left for my coefficients inside? Well, 6 divided by 3 is 2. 18 divided by 3, 6. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now, let's clear it up. Let's look at the q's. What's the smallest exponent that is attached to a q? Well, it's usually the last one. I'm not saying it's going to be the last one every time, but usually it's the last one. And sure enough here, right, q is being cubed here. So I can divide, the idea is I can divide out q cubed here, q cubed here, and q cubed here. So I can divide out q cubed, leaving us with, let's just look at this first one, q to the second. We have a positive 6q to the first, which we could just write as q. And I divided all of the q's out of this last term, so that's just going to leave us with the constant term of 3. So my answer here, we just got to match it up. Well, let's look at the first one. Nope, I factored out a 6q. That doesn't work. I need a 3q cubed. That doesn't work. So I look at B and D are my only two answer choices, and right, you have the 6q and the 3 that matches up with answer choice B. Boom. B is your answer.